finding a distressed seller, solving their problem, getting the property under contract, and then selling the contract. And I was like, wow, I can for sure do that. The most amount of money I had in my bank account was like 8 grand. I do a very referrals-based model. I don't do cold calling, I don't do texting, I don't do any direct to seller. I spend zero on marketing.
So you're reaching out to agents all day. Is this properties that have been on the market for a while, or are you just reaching out to all of them?
I bet any agent you can name that's in any of my markets is probably in my database.
We do a lot of wholesaling too. We don't do that. We're like, agents suck. Even though I'm a licensed agent, broker, all that stuff too. I'm that because I hate dealing with agents. Thank you so much for coming on. Who are you? What the heck do you do?
My name is Jonah Korchin. I'm a real estate investor. My business is segmented into a bunch of different things. Say 10% are buy and holds, maybe 3 to 5% are flips, and then 85% wholesaling, I would say. That's like the vast majority. That's the money maker. And then I got 5 rentals right now, and then I'll have one flip going on at any given time. Do a lot of content, try to teach people. I own a CRM company as well, specifically for agent outreach called Simple Send. And yeah, I travel around and go to masterminds and hang out.
That's cool. It's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How'd you get started?
How did I get started? I went to a real estate meetup in San Francisco. That's where I was living. That's where I'm from. I went to it. It was about long-term or long-distance real estate investing. And I was like, this is all great and all, but and I started asking people, this is great, but what do you do if you're broke and have literally no money? Before that, I was in the Peace Corps, and before that, I was in college. So the most amount of money I had in my bank account was like 8 grand. That's the most I ever made in a year was 8 grand. So I was pretty damn broke, living with parents, all that good stuff. And they're like, oh, have you heard of this thing called wholesaling? I'm like, what is that? And then they explained it to me where basically it's just finding a distressed seller, solving their problem, getting the property under contract, and then selling the contract. And I was like, wow, I can for sure do that. I'm really good at relating to people. I'm good at sales. There's no inventory. I don't have to come up with a product. That's my freaking business. Let's go. I just felt it. I'm like, I'm going to be successful at that. And I did it. And here we are.
Hell yeah. So from that start to when it starts working, there's like this blurry ass line that people try to mud their way through and figure out. So what's working for you now? How are you getting deals? You said 80 to 85% wholesale. And I just like to be transparent. People say, hey, here's some stuff that's working for some people. It might not work for you, but it's working for us.
Yeah, I'm pretty unique in the sense that I get almost all my deals through agents and other wholesalers. So I'm a little unique in that sense, in the sense I do a very referrals-based model. I don't do cold calling, I don't do texting, I don't do any direct to seller. I just talk to agents all day. I think that's the secret. I think it's a way more scalable model. It's a much more relationships-based model. And yeah, I think that's the secret. I think that's just what it is. That's what works for me, at least. And I think people get caught up or lose because they spend too much on marketing. I spend zero on marketing. Yeah, that's what I would say.
That makes sense. So you're reaching out to agents all day. Is this properties that have been on the market for a while, or are you just reaching out to all of them?
Literally every agent. Every single agent. I bet any agent you can name that's in any of my markets is probably in my database. Like I literally hit up all of them. I try to introduce myself, do a 5-minute call, just introduce myself so they know my voice, know my phone number, tell them to save my phone number because my phone number commonly comes up as spam because it's like a CRM number. And then I have a system that automates my text messaging. So it sends out a text message from my number every 2 weeks, just being like, hey, got anything? Hey, got anything? And I do that forever with thousands of agents. And that's how and just eventually you just make money from that because
Yeah.
somebody has something.
Yeah. Whether it be creative, cash, whatever. Maybe it's been on the market a while. Maybe their situation changed. You
Yeah,
become synonymous, and then they're like, I'm gonna call this dude.
exactly.
That's cool. When you're first initially reaching out, are these agents blowing you off at first?
I have VAs that do the initial texting outreach. So they probably get a lot of fuck yous and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I
Yeah.
don't anymore. I have it where the VAs set up intro calls for my team, not even me. I have enough agents. And they set it up for my team, they make calls, and then also they do cold calling to agents. It's a mix of cold calling and set up appointments.
That's cool. How does that script go? I'm sure it's the same with
Pretty
all of them.
easy. It's basically the same thing. It's, hey, my name is Jonah. I'm a real estate investor in Denver. Would love to connect. I want to get a deal with you. You're an agent here. And it's yes. And then the script is actually, this is my script. And then I'm like, awesome. So here's what I do better than anybody else. I solve sellers' problems. That's what I do. So if you ever come across one that's like a pre-foreclosure, no equity, hoarder, whatever it might be, my goal is to be the tool in your tool belt that you use to solve that problem and get you your commission.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I was just curious if you knew of any right now. So there's several different steps to a good intro call. So I'll go through them for you and your audience. One is what I did at the beginning, which was introduce yourself, say you're an investor in blah, blah, blah area. 2, see if they're a realtor in your area. You might have screwed that up. 3, the tool in the tool belt line, that whole thing that I just gave out. 4, do you know of anything right now? Remember to ask them if they actually know of anything. And then the 5th one is if they have something, great, start getting info. They don't have anything, then be like, hey, thank you so much anyways. Here's my, I send them my Blink card. I'm like, save my Blink card. I really appreciate you. And yeah, let's get a deal. And always end with appreciation. I like ending it with appreciation. People like that. So yeah, that's how you do it.
That's badass, man. That's a pretty unique strategy. I know we do a lot of wholesaling too. We don't do that. We're like, agents suck, even though I'm a licensed agent, broker, all that stuff too. I'm that because I hate dealing with agents. That's why I'm licensed.
They're annoying, but it's pick your poison. Sellers can
Right.
be awful as well. It just depends. Like you got to pick your poison. There's pros and cons. I just like it more because it's free and then it's also a bit reoccurring too. Like I have certain agents that will give me at least a deal a year, a 10 to 20K deal a year from a relationship I built over the past 4 years. That's pretty freaking passive. They're just texting you.
No, I completely agree. Like being in the space and doing a lot of deals, I never really looked at it that way. But I completely agree. I can see 'cause you're dealing with sellers that are telling you to screw off all day too. They're like, I don't want to sell for cheap. It's the same. You're just dealing with agents being like, like wholesalers suck or investors suck.
Yeah, sellers say the exact same thing, so it doesn't really make
Yeah.
any difference. You got to deal with it no matter what you do.
What's funny with that, and I have a lot of questions because this is opening up stuff, is y'all probably do a lot of novations too, then, huh?
Novations are hard because agents' minds are closed. That's the hard part. Creative can be challenging with agents. Agents only really want to do creative if they have to do creative. So I do a lot of sub twos with agents because they have no clue what to do when the person has no equity. That's a really good strategy with agents, but they don't want to hear anything other than just an offer unless they have to hear something. Like a novation, they're going to be like, I'm going to push him to the offer that's 20 grand less. That's
Yeah.
cash. That's just what they do because they just don't know what innovation is. And the confused mind says no.
Yeah.
So
I
not
was just,
really.
yeah, I was just curious because I have a few agents we work with that we do novations with, but I guess that makes sense. We actually reach out to them with the deal, so they have no choice in the matter. Hell yeah, we'll list it. You know what I mean? We're gonna make
Right.
a position.
That's different.
But I guess if they had the choice, they
Yeah,
might.
if they have the listing, it's a bit of an issue.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
yeah, when you're doing these creative deals, say that they do own them outright. Do y'all get any of those like 0% famous 0% deals just in payments? You had any luck
I
on?
mainly do sub twos with agents.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to get the seller financing ones going with them, but I get 2%, 2.5%, 3% mortgages. Still pretty sick. I
Yeah.
unfortunately am not as cool as Pace Morby with the 0%ers, but hey, I try.
We get a few, but it's through sellers. I keep them. But what I'll do is
Right.
I partner with people because I started buying all of them. And then I was
Right.
like, yeah, it's capital intensive, right? Because they all need whatever. And I started bringing on part like 20G and just saying, hey, I'm going to keep 50% equity, but I'm going to let everybody else eat.
It's a lot easier when you're direct to seller. It's just when you're dealing with a representative, you have to get through the representative and then also still convince the seller. So
Yeah.
it's double the work to make it happen. I bet there are people who do it. Maybe I just suck. I don't know, but like other people, but like I personally have just been able to do sub twos with agents because it's a really easy pitch. It's, do you want to actually make any money or not?
Yeah. No, I think you're right with agents because we don't do that with agents either. It's only direct to seller. Because
Yeah.
with agents, their minds, even wholesalers, like whenever they'll reach out and they got a deal locked up too high, I'm like, hey, did you pitch creative? And they're like, no, they won't do it. I'm like, did you ask? No, they won't do it. It's the same with agents. No, they won't do it. So I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like one of those things where the seller financing, usually those houses have to be somewhat nice. And at that point, if they're listing with an agent too, like the agent's, nah, I'm just going to go to an end buyer. And then the
Yeah.
end buyer buy. It's, I don't know. It's just harder to make work. I've never been able to make a seller financing deal work with an agent, but I've done them with wholesalers. Yeah.
What's your deal flow look like normally? I know freaking real estate's cyclical, but like how are
Like, as
y'all?
in, like, how many deals am I doing a month, you mean?
Yeah, a month, a year, whatever. Sometimes a month's bad because you might
So
have.
last year I was doing a lot better because I had an integrator partner. Not better, but like we were bigger because I had a partnership. That partnership broke up for many different reasons. We can get into them if you want. But this year's been rebuilding after that. So we're at like 3 to 6 to 7. And then last year was like 10-ish, 10 to 11.
Yeah,
So in those range.
that's cool. But without partners, you make more of it, so that's good.
Without part, I'm making it the same amount of money. So it's like half as many deals with the same amount of money. And I'm really glad that partnership ended because I just hired out for him. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, wait a minute, I can just pay people to do what he did. I can pay a VA to do what he did, to be honest. Like, you don't need an integrator partner. You feel like you do when you don't have any money, but really, like, I pay a VA like 1050, which is a lot of money, but like for someone who's basically it's a bargain. So
And that's what you mean by an integrator. Like you're the visionary. I want to say brains, but everybody's the brains. But you're the
I'm
visionary. You
just
know how the shit needs to move, but you need somebody to put the glue together because you don't have the time or patience to do it. Right?
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
I'm the same way. And I have that position on my team. I just pay 10% of what we make. I'm like, hey, you get, so they're hungry. They're like, we got to make some freaking money.
Yeah,
So
100%. That's a
that's
smart way
cool.
to do it too. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't even be opposed to doing that at some point. 10% is fine. 50% is just way too much. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm just realizing you can hire anybody to do anything in your business. I think people think, oh, who would ever be able to do X? And it's no, literally, there's someone who can do every single job ever. I think people forget that. So, anyways,
When they overpay, like I get it. Like I've done it too. It's like I need this right now. It's part of freaking business. We all do that crap. I,
yeah.
I like that you said that you're into doing VAs too. What all do you use? I guess agent outreach, but what all do you use your VAs for?
So my VAs in my business, two of them are what I call acquisition specialists, lead generators. So what they do is they research the agents, they get their phone numbers from brokerage websites, they upload them to the CRM, they set up the texting campaigns, they filter out ones that don't want to work with us. Lead generators generally. That's two of them. I got one that's finding buyers all day, every single day. I have one who's my admin assistant who I don't know how to describe that role. I basically throw whatever I need at him, just
Yeah.
the random miscellaneous. I don't want to do it. You can do this. Like, just schedule something or figure out the parking passes or whatever. He's the what the extra whatever. And then I have my person who all the VAs report to her. Oh, also the admin assistant is my social. He's not a social media manager. I actually outsource social media management, but he's also does a bit of editing. He does my scripting for
Oh,
he's learned I've taught him how to use ChatGPT to create scripts for me, Instagram reels and YouTube videos. And then my VA is basically manages all of them. And then she's also a systems engineer. So she manages everyone else, all the other VAs, and then she creates trainuals, creates SOPs, and when the system is broken, she figures out how the hell to fix it. Slash creates new systems for me. So I think 1050 is underpaying her, to be honest. The only reason why I even get away with that for someone that skilled, I think, is honestly just because she's been with me so long now and I like taught her everything. So those are all the VAs in the company right now and what they do. I have 5.
I like it, dude. My whole company runs with VAs besides my COO pods, and it's like the closer and the two girls that are calling doing the lead gen. Same crap. I had a team of Americans, and I was paying out the ass for like half-ass performance back in the day, and just I'm going in closing everything, and I'm like, man, screw this. I'm tired of babysitting. I'm tired of all this. And I just went straight VAs, fired everybody. And when just
Hmm.
kind of like you're doing, like everybody.
I have 2 Americans. I do have 2 American closers that I pay them on commission only 20% of the deal. So I do have 2 Americans. I think VAs, I don't know if the cultural barrier is quite there to create that connection with an agent. I
Yeah.
don't know if it just fits. I think you really need like that extra American touch. I just feel like agents are extra hypersensitive, even more than sellers to an accent. I've just noticed it. So yeah.
Me saying that, I agree with you because we finally, I think just the other day, the VAs did a whole deal by themselves. The first time. Usually we have to jump in somewhere, whether it's But literally, the dude locks it up, or the girl tees it up, the lead gen, the acquisition closer closes it. Our dispo guy or gal blasts it out, gets the buyer, schedules a showing, gets the picture of the ID,
That's
gets the
fun.
picture of proof of funds. And I'm watching this. I'm like, hell yeah, okay, it's gonna happen. And dude sends the earnest money, title, assignment, the whole 9 yards. They did it. That's the first time ever. But it was cool.
Nice. That's
So,
fun.
how scale.
That's happened to me before, but that was in my last company. This company so far, they still need me a little bit for hand holding, but they're getting there.
That's badass, man. What advice you have for people starting out?
Just do it. I don't know if there's really any better advice than that. Like just do your best. Don't try to be so stressed out. It's really easy to get stressed out over everything. It's all gonna be fine. You lost that 100K deal or the couple 20K deals. Relax. There will be a deal that closes always. That's the great thing about real estate is there will always be another deal. There will always be money here. There will never not be some money to be made in real estate. You just got to keep doing it. That's my best advice is like, just don't worry. Just don't. I forgot who it was. I think my acupuncturist actually said this to me. You have to do all the stuff and you're anxious about doing all of this stuff. But instead of being anxious, you could just do all the stuff and not be anxious while doing it. Or you could be anxious while doing it, but it's completely your choice how you want to do it. Just choose not to have anxiety while doing it. I still struggle with that sometimes. I get like anxious right now. I'm dealing with a deal with some partners of mine who are dispoing it, and I do not like the way they're dispoing it. They are making my life way fucking harder. They're not following the process to the way that I think it should be. It feels very unprofessional and I hate dealing with it. But I'm like, dude, just relax. If it blows up because it's just not it.
I think that's sound advice, dude. Two things really I get out of that is we choose to be happy,
Yeah.
right? We choose it. So that's one. And two, like really an abundance mindset, I think is so important. Like you said, there's money out there. There's always going to be money out there. If you're thinking, oh, there's not, you're going to freaking screw up deals anyway. Get less than
Right.
or want, whatever.
No, I just agree. It's just always going to be a struggle. Just realize that it literally will never end,
Yeah.
ever. So even once you have money, it doesn't really end. So anyway, so I think that's my best advice is you just realize that everything you think you're gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna be fine once I get 100 grand. Guarantee you then it's, oh, I'm gonna be fine once I hit 1 million.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be fine when I hit 10 million. And it's bro, it literally never ends. There will always be some anxiety there unless you just stop having the anxiety now,
Yeah.
right?
New levels, new
It's just
devils.
new stress. If you're at the 10 million level, you're getting sued for a couple million over X, Y, and Z project. Like it's not gonna end. It's just your stresses are just gonna get greater. So, anyways, I don't know.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you?
People can find me on my Instagram. It's literally my name. It's on my thing right here, Jonah Korchin. You can find me on Instagram, DM me. Feel free to go there. If you're interested in a good CRM, simple send without an E. So it's simple without an E, send.com. We are implementing direct to seller pretty soon. Right now it's just for direct to agent because that's what I do so much of, but we're gonna implement direct to seller within the next month or two. I think it's gonna make it really big and it's gonna be a good time. So
That's dude. Great meeting you. Great talking to you. And have a good rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
thanks, man. Great podcast.
All right, dude. Later.
Later.